Here is something most people never think about until it's already happening to them. The strength in your legs doesn't disappear overnight. It leaves quietly, little by little, starting earlier than you'd expect. And by the time most people notice it, they've already lost a significant amount of what they once had. If you found yourself holding the railing on the stairs when you didn't used to, or getting up from a chair and feeling that brief moment of unsteadiness, or noticing that your walks have gotten shorter without any real reason why, that's not just aging. That's your body sending you a message. And the good news is that message is not a final verdict. It's an invitation to do something about it. Today I want to talk to you about your legs. Not in the way that makes you feel like there's something wrong with you, but in the way that helps you understand exactly what's going on, why it matters more than most people realize, and what you can start doing every single morning to turn things around. Because what happens in your legs affects so much more than just your ability to walk. It affects your balance, your circulation, your energy, your independence, and honestly, your quality of life in ways you might not have connected yet. So stay with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see your morning routine in a completely different light. Let's start with something that surprises a lot of people. After the age of 60, the human body can lose up to 3 to 5% of its muscle mass every single year if nothing is done to slow the process. Scientists call it sarcopenia, but you don't need to remember that word. What you do need to understand is what it feels like, and you might already know, it feels like climbing a flight of stairs and needing a moment to recover at the top. It feels like carrying groceries that didn't used to feel heavy. It feels like your legs just don't respond the way they once did. And the frustrating part is that most people assume this is simply what getting older feels like. They accept it. They adjust their expectations. They stop doing the things that used to bring them joy. And that's exactly when the real decline begins. Not because of age, but because of inactivity. Here's what I want you to really sit with for a moment. Your legs contain the largest and most powerful muscle groups in your entire body. The muscles in your thighs, your glutes, your calves, these aren't just for walking. They are your body's engine for circulation, for stability, for metabolic health, and for your ability to live independently as you age. When those muscles weaken, your heart has to work harder to pump blood through your lower body. Your balance becomes less reliable because your muscles can no longer make the tiny, rapid adjustments that keep you upright. Your joints lose the protective support that strong muscles provide, which is why knee and hip pain so often gets worse when leg strength declines. Everything is connected, and it all starts in your legs. Now here's something I find truly fascinating, and I think you will too. Researchers who study populations of people who age exceptionally well, people in their 70s, 80s, even 90s who are still mobile, still independent, still full of life, they consistently find one thing these people share. It's not a special diet. It's not a particular medication. It's not even genetics, although that plays a small role. What these people share is that they move their legs every single day. Not necessarily hard exercise, not gym memberships or hour-long workouts. They simply never allow their legs to go completely dormant. They build movement into their mornings, into their routines, into the fabric of their daily lives. And the results, decade after decade, are remarkable. That's exactly what I want to help you understand today. Because the morning is not just a time of day. It's actually the most powerful window you have to influence how your body feels and functions for the entire rest of the day. When you wake up in the morning, your muscles have been still for 6, 7, maybe 8 hours. Your circulation has slowed. The fluid in your joints has settled. Your body is essentially at rest, and it needs a signal, a gentle, intentional signal to come back online. What you do in that first 20 to 30 minutes after you wake up sets the tone for everything that follows. And most people are wasting that window completely. Think about what a typical morning looks like. You wake up, you sit up in bed, you shuffle to the bathroom, you sit at the kitchen table with your coffee, and then maybe you sit on the couch. By the time most people have been awake for an hour, they've barely moved at all. And your legs, which have already been still all night, continue to be still. The message your body receives from that is simple. These muscles are not needed, and your body is incredibly efficient. It doesn't maintain what it doesn't use. So gently, gradually, without you even realizing it, those muscles begin to give up a little more of themselves. I'm not telling you this to make you feel bad about your mornings. I'm telling you because once you understand this, once you truly see how much influence you have over this process, it becomes genuinely exciting. Because the solution is not complicated. It doesn't require special equipment. It doesn't require you to be athletic or to push through pain. It simply requires intention, a few specific movements done consistently every morning that tell your body in no uncertain terms that your legs are still very much needed. The first thing to understand is that the goal in the morning isn't intensity. It's activation. You're not trying to exhaust your muscles. You're trying to wake them up. Think of it like a car engine on a cold morning. You don't rev it immediately. You warm it up gently, let the fluids circulate, let everything come to operating temperature. That's exactly what your legs need. When you activate your leg muscles gently in the morning, you stimulate blood flow into those tissues. You lubricate your joints by encouraging the movement of synovial fluid, which is the natural cushioning system your body has built in. You signal your nervous system to start making the fine adjustments that keep you balanced and coordinated throughout the day. One of the simplest and most effective things you can do is something called a seated march. Before you even stand up from your bed or your chair, you simply lift one knee at a time, alternating slowly, as if you're marching in place while seated. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but let me tell you what it actually does. It activates the hip flexors, which are the muscles responsible for lifting your legs when you walk. In many older adults, these muscles are chronically underactivated because of long hours of sitting, and when they're weak or stiff, the entire walking pattern becomes less efficient and less stable. Just 2 to 3 minutes of seated marching in the morning begins to reverse that pattern. It tells those muscles to engage. It gets blood moving into your hips, your thighs, and your lower back simultaneously. From there, standing up slowly and deliberately is itself a form of exercise. Most people launch themselves out of a chair without thinking about it. But if you pause and use your leg muscles consciously, pressing down through your heels, squeezing your thighs, letting your glutes do the work, that single movement becomes a strength exercise. You can even repeat it 3 or 4 times. Sit back down slowly, stand back up slowly. This is essentially a modified squat, and it targets the exact muscles that are most responsible for your ability to rise from a chair, climb stairs, get up from the floor, and maintain the kind of independence that most people take for granted until they no longer have it. Now let me share something that genuinely changes how people think about leg strength. The muscles in your glutes, the large muscles of your backside, are not just about appearance. They are arguably the most important muscles in your entire body for healthy aging. They stabilize your pelvis, support your lower back, drive your walking stride, and protect your knees from excess impact. And they're also among the first muscles to weaken when people become more sedentary. There's even a term for it, gluteal amnesia, which essentially means the muscles forget how to fire correctly because they've been sat upon and ignored for too long. When your glutes stop working the way they should, your body compensates by overloading other areas, your lower back, your knees, your hip joints. This is often the hidden root cause behind chronic aches that many older adults accept as inevitable. Reactivating those muscles doesn't take much. A simple exercise called a glute bridge, where you lie on your back with your knees bent and slowly lift your hips toward the ceiling, is one of the most rehabilitative and strengthening movements available. You don't need weights. You don't need a gym. You need a flat surface and about 2 to 3 minutes. Done every morning, this exercise begins to rebuild the neuromuscular connection between your brain and your glutes. It reminds those muscles that they have a job to do. And within a few weeks of consistency, Many people find that their lower back discomfort decreases, their walking feels more powerful, and they feel more stable simply standing still. There's another piece of this that most people overlook entirely, and it has to do with your calves. The calf muscles in your lower legs perform a function that most people don't know about. They act as a secondary pump for your circulatory system. Every time your calf muscles contract and release, they push blood back up through your veins toward your heart. This is enormously important, especially as circulation naturally slows with age. When your calves are weak or stiff, circulation in your lower legs becomes sluggish. This contributes to swelling in the ankles and feet, to that feeling of heaviness in your legs, to cold feet, and even a general fatigue. A simple calf raise, rising up onto the balls of your feet and lowering back down, repeated 10 to 15 times, stimulates that circulatory pump and immediately improves blood flow through your entire lower body. Done every morning, preferably near a counter or wall for balance support. This becomes one of the most beneficial 2-minute investments you can make in your cardiovascular health. What I want you to notice about everything I've described is that none of it requires you to be in peak physical condition. None of it requires you to push through pain or discomfort. All of it meets you exactly where you are. The beauty of morning leg activation is that it builds on itself. In the first week, you might simply feel a little less stiff when you start your day. In the second and third week, you might notice that you're rising from chairs more easily. By the fourth and fifth week, many people report that their balance feels more reliable, that they're walking with more confidence, and that the fatigue they used to feel in their legs by afternoon is noticeably less. The body responds to consistent, gentle stimulus with genuine, measurable change. It's one of the most hopeful truths about human physiology. At any age, the body wants to adapt. It wants to grow stronger in response to the right signals. I think what holds most people back isn't laziness. It's discouragement. They've tried things before that felt too hard, or they haven't seen results quickly enough, or they've been told that what they're experiencing is just part of getting older. And I want to gently but firmly push back on that. The research on muscle preservation and recovery in older adults is actually quite encouraging. Studies have shown that adults in their 70s and even 80s can build meaningful muscle strength and improve balance significantly with consistent, appropriate exercise. The potential doesn't disappear. It waits. It waits for you to show up for it. So here is what I want to leave you with today. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, before you pour your coffee, before you let the day take over, give your legs 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes of intentional movement. Do the seated march. Rise from your chair slowly and deliberately. Try a few gentle calf raises at your kitchen counter. These aren't just exercises. They are a declaration. A declaration that you are not willing to let this part of your life quietly shrink. That you intend to be strong, to be mobile, to be independent, to be present in your body for as long as possible. The people who age well don't have a secret that's kept from everyone else. They simply make a choice every day to keep moving, and you can make that same choice starting tomorrow morning. If this resonated with you, I'd genuinely love to hear about it in the comments below. Tell me how your mornings currently look, or share what part of this surprised you most. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you want to keep learning practical ways to stay strong, mobile, and independent as you age, consider subscribing. There's so much more to explore together. You have more strength available to you than you may realize right now. It's time to go find it.